Mr. Chris Heaton-Harris.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I would like to start by thanking my honourable friend, the member for Hazel Grove, for securing this very important and timely debate. Indeed, I think it was through him that I first was informed about the issues he addressed in his speech, and I think it's fair to say he has been fairly persistent in his contact with me ever since, and indeed Northern Trains and others, to build a coalition to try and get services reinstated on this line. I'll happily give way to the Honourable Lady.
If I can draw him momentarily away from Cheshire and the North West, my neighbour and his honourable friend, the member for North Somerset, last year had a debate in this place last October about the Portishead line, which I was also supporting. We were very keen to see that expedited, as I wrote to him further in August, if he could also look into that, share the honourable members' good wishes.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I will honourably take up the Honourable Lady's offer because I think it's a very, very positive piece of news going on in Portishead, and I look forward to having conversations with her to move that forward. But where we're talking about, Rose Hill and Hazel Grove, and indeed the Honourable Member for Hazel Grove has been building a coalition to get the services he much loves and his constituents much love reinstated. He's done a very good job. In this place we know him as a hard-working chairman of a select committee and a great parliamentarian, but we also now know that he is a hard-working, caring and great constituency MP. He's demonstrated how he's willing to work with others from other political parties to get a result for his and their constituents. And I would like to place on the record the work I know has been done by the Honourable Member for Stalybridge and Hyde, the Honourable Member for Denton and Redditch, and the Honourable Member for Stockport on these issues. I was pleased that we all had an opportunity to discuss this matter with the Managing Director of Northern Trains last Friday. As my honourable friend knows, I was concerned to hear the Rose Hill service had been temporarily removed until December 2020. Let me be clear from the outset that Northern took this unwelcome decision themselves to maintain operational performance by increasing services overall whilst managing its recovery from COVID-19. Prior to the pandemic, Northern already, alas, had an intensive driver training programme backlog. But extra delays caused by the epidemic, combined with staff self-shielding at home, meant that Northern has had to take steps to prioritise its available and competent driver resource to where it is most needed. Northern made this decision to temporarily suspend services from Rose Hill because, given the availability of other train routes, stations and public transport options for Rose Hill passengers, it's believed it would have less impact for local customers than other stations and routes. Northern says it did not take this decision lightly. It anticipated and hoped that the provision of a replacement bus service and the availability of train travel options from other stations close by would enable Rose Hill passengers to return to work and school with minimal disruption. Nonetheless, Northern recognises that this decision, whilst made with the best interests of its customers network-wide in mind, caused significant concern and frustration amongst passengers and local friends groups and members of Parliament. As we've been slowly exiting from lockdown and seeing Britons get back to work, the railway has been quite rightly increasing services to meet passenger demand and expectations. This Monday, there will be, the 14th of September, there will be an additional service uplift for many passengers across Northern's network. Train operators overall have been asked to restore a timetable that maximises the opportunities for passenger travel whilst maintaining the excellent performance levels we are seeing at this point in time. And I would like to assure all members that the rapid return of a good, regular, resilient timetable on this line is our priority. Having listened to the concerns of members, I can inform members that Northern has reviewed its timetable and outlined improvements, but I have challenged the operator to do more immediately for the passengers in the Rose Hill area. Moving resource around has enabled Northern to provide some glimmer of light for consumers, for passengers on this line. Northern has prioritised a running of services for its customers that is going to be both resilient and reliable, rather than ramping up services quickly, something I insist on. We need a reliable railway if we're going to have a railway at all. And it's focusing its efforts on the morning and evening peak times, using customer feedback to get essential workers to where they need to be. Literally moments before this debate commenced, Northern Rail informed me that it intends to introduce two services, plans to introduce two trains in the morning, Monday to Friday, for Rosehill and Marple from the 14th of September. They'll arrive at 8:11 and 8:36, respectively, to ensure that Northern can meet the key school demand. There'll also be an afternoon service for school demand, arriving at Rosehill at 3:14, 15:14, getting to Manchester Piccadilly half an hour later. So I'd like to think that the coalition that my honourable friend has brought together, the voices of his residents and the voices of members of Parliament here, have been listened to by Northern and maybe hopefully amplified by me as the Minister in the conversations that we all have had with the operator. I'll happily give way to the...
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Just to say on behalf of my constituents in Hyde, that will be extremely welcome news, Minister. And a service that focuses on the peak demand will go a huge way to meeting the need that is there and putting concerns at rest and actually keeping people on the railway, which is what we all want to see. So can I thank him on behalf of my constituency, certainly.
Well, I thank the honourable gentleman for that. He has played a great part in this, as has other members who've contributed today. The impact of coronavirus means that the safety of passengers and staff must be paramount, though. That means the focus right now is on reliability and increased capacity to enable safer travel with enough space for social distancing where possible. Northern runs a highly complex network and serves an enormous section of the United Kingdom. In fact, around 1 in 5 of all United Kingdom stations is a Northern station. It shares the network with 9 other train operators, so the decisions it takes, such as moving trains and train crew around to run different services, affect the journeys people make all around the country. As my right honourable friend knows from our last meeting on Friday past, Northern apologised for the removal of this service and has committed to an internal review to learn the lessons from this issue. Northern is also reviewing options again to see how it can support affected communities until we get to the point where a full, reliable service is restored. More generally, the public sector operator will continue to work with Network Rail to make sure the railway delivers as one, with a single-minded focus on the interests of the passenger. As part of this, the newly created cross-industry Manchester Recovery Task Force, coordinated by Network Rail, will deliver recommendations on how best to boost capacity and performance in the short, medium and longer term. Northern has already begun to deliver many improvements for customers, including the recruitment of more staff, a full train cleaning programme and improvements to many stations. However, there does remain much more to do to provide a modern, reliable service that its passengers deserve. It really does hope, Northern really does hope, to shortly update everybody further on its plans to transform the service. But until then, it will continue to focus on getting the basics right, restoring reliability, increasing capacity, and rebuilding the trust in the organisation by providing services that all passengers can truly rely upon.
Will my honourable friend allow?
Of course.
I'm very grateful to my honourable friend, the Minister, for giving way, and thank him for that announcement and the work that he's gone to secure it. And he mentioned the short, medium and long terms. And without wishing to look a gift horse in the mouth, I wonder if he can elaborate any further. Will Northern prioritise this route for restoration of services before the deadline in December? And might there perhaps be the potential for better news in the weeks ahead?
Well, as my honourable friend will recognise from the announcement I gave, which I only just had moments before I entered given to me moments before I entered the chamber, Northern is working particularly hard to ensure the restoration of service. And I will continue to put pressure on it to continue to do that in the course up to the 14th of December, where the next timetable change comes. But I think we have proven already that working together we can get some change on our railways, and if we continue to do so, I'm sure that will continue to be the case. So I recognise that this decision by Northern has caused serious concern amongst passengers and constituents of my honourable friend and others. The coronavirus outbreak has affected the way we work and go about our daily lives, and the rail industry is no different. So I once again would like to thank the Honourable Member for Hazel Grove for bringing forward this debate. I should say, in doing my research for this debate, I came across some interesting claims by another local political party, interestingly not represented here today, considering their supposed level of concern. They claim to have been running a campaign to get the service reinstated, so I thought I might have missed something. So I asked my officials to check whether any representations have been made to my department by the local councillor concerned about reinstating these services. Madam Deputy Speaker, unsurprisingly, the answer came back as no, not a thing, not a sausage. As per usual, the Lib Dems are very good at moaning about something and happy to make a gripe fester, but actually, in this case, we're not interested enough to make representations to the department that might be able to help. Perhaps the collection of data in a campaign was more important to them than getting a result. Fortunately, the people of Hazel Grove have my honourable friend representing them, who, as I said at the beginning of my speech, from the very moment he heard about the issue, made contact with me, indeed before I'd found out formally, and has been forcefully and proactively asking the right questions of the right people to get the right results for the people he represents. He is a member in a government of a party in government that is going to level up the economic opportunities across our great nation. Indeed, the government understands the importance communities across the country place on regular train services and the social and economic benefits these can unlock for local economies. I hope the measures being introduced by Northern that I've announced do go some way to assure passengers relying on Rose Hill Marple services as we continue to come out of the coronavirus outbreak, that we are looking to improve that service greatly. And hopefully they will also be pleased with the massive multi-million pound investment in new rolling stock, which I very much hope will be serving this route in the coming months, hopefully answering the Honourable Gentleman's point in some way. So finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is more work to do, but a lot of work has been done by honourable members present in this House today to restore some services on this line, and I thank the Honourable Gentleman for all of his help in doing that.